Okay, another video here, Jeff. Doing another video on. I'm sitting out here in the outside patio of McDonald's. I actually had dinner at another restaurant. Came by and dropped here for coffee, and I came out here to do these videos because this is a great lighted area. It's really great. And I tried to do this in the car the other day. The other evening it was raining. It's actually raining on the tables here, so I can't sit down. There's water all over the place. But I tried to do this in the car, and the light actually wasn't bright enough. And after I did all my videos, so I have to do these videos. And then my battery in my car died today, so I had to got the battery. Now everything's better lighting. Right? Everything's much better in the car, so that seems to have been a problem in that light. But that's not the topic of the video, so it's just that's why I'm doing these videos a second time around. So this one is about Cari. I want to answer the question you asked, or not a question, but your comment you made on LinkedIn about politics and charities. And I know you do a lot of work with charities and stuff. And so, and I've done a ton of work on charities, nonprofits, whatever you want to call these things. There are different flavors of this. I've been on a lot of boards of different types of these charities. I mean, some have been religious affiliated, some have been cultural activity stuff, other ones have been music conservatory stuff, others have been corporate social responsibility for humanitarian aid. I mean, I got a whole list of them just in my volunteer thing at the bottom of my LinkedIn profile. So I mean, there's a lot of them there, and plus I've had a lot of jobs in working with governments, working with small and big institutions of all types, in a lot of different roles, including sales, and customer service, and a lot of customer facing or client facing, or type of roles where you're dealing with the people that are getting your services or your products, or what do you want to call this stuff. And all this is and even when you're doing government, you're providing service, right? So there's still a lot of this that's it's still very relevant. So I want to come from that perspective, talking about this topic of politics and charities. And what I would say is, again, I'm not scripting into this. I'm just talking off the top of my head, right? So I hope you don't have too much noise or you're getting the people at the McDrive coming through, right? So I'm trying to keep it as far away as I can there. But this is a great lighting here. This is just great lighting for doing these videos. At least better in the car or out in the street where there's just nothing, and I don't like to go home and do it. It's kind of boring there. So it's kind of just inspires me to be outside and to do these videos. I would say that all institutions, small and big, all institutions, whatever they may be, charities or whatnot, nonprofits, profit making, small companies, big companies, startups, NGOs, okay, all of them deal with politics, okay, all of them. It's just different levels of politics and different types of politics. And if you actually go back to my 1999 talk at the Society for Automotive Engineering, the Top Tech talk in 1999, and the end of November and December, Top Tech Amsterdam, 1999. I talked about one of the horizontal streams. I actually talked about it there, and I actually talked about it again in my presentation at the University of Gdańsk in Poland to a lot of translators, and I talked about this in the middle, one of my web points, and I mentioned this thing of the streams of horizontal streams, the technology of the vertical streams and the horizontal streams of communication, and one of those three horizontal streams was specifically about human-to-human communication. And I said that one side you have on human-human communication, what's called collaboration, sharing, and you have another side that's called internal politics, right? The negative side. But it's the same thing. Your politics is to communicate, or it's not to communicate. It's to withhold information, right? And to actually fight. And it's really interesting, having been working some government stuff, to see people that in governments, it's really interesting I've seen where people, their job is to hate each other, right? In politics. But they have dinner together, right? They actually eat meals together. outside of jobs, right? So they can actually separate, they compartmentalize their how they behave. Really super interesting, and to watch this happen in governments, whereas you don't see this in other places necessarily. So it's kind of you have to get used to doing this, right? And you have to fit into that kind of mold. But the politics, I've had to write a lot of reports to a lot of executives about analyzing situations from all kinds of points of view, from economic to social to psychological, cognitive analyses, to determine how to make decision making things. And it's been really interesting to see, to compare. It's all about politics, right? And politics is not bad, okay? This is the issue. Politics, the word politics has always been, it's usually meant to be something bad. But again, look at my spectrum. I called about the communication stream, the horizontal stream. Sharing and collaborating is one side of it, and then withholding and fighting is the other side of it. But it's really just politics. It's how you decide what you want to do. And it's choice. And it depends what your perspective is and what you want to do in that. And it depends how you fit within that, again, that spectrum from left to right. It's a fader, right? Bass and treble. Bass and treble, you kind of how much, or the not the volume, it's bass and treble, how much you have one or the other. And you kind of mix that, right? And sometimes, I mean, politics, you have to think about it. I'm a person that shares a lot, okay? I share a lot of information, but I only share the stuff I can share. Right? I don't share the stuff I can't share. And so it's that fader, right? That mixture. Because I believe that sharing is really important for being able to get people to collaborate. But there are times where I can't share stuff. Like, I'm not going to talk about my patent stuff, right? I'm not going to talk about that because I'm not allowed to. And so I won't share that. So people say, well, you're not sharing. Well, no, I can't, because that gets all of us in trouble, right? So there are times when I can share and times I can't. And it's all a fader. It's all a mixture. It's kind of like a mixing board doing a music thing. You kind of decide how much you're going to get of each one. You're going to blend it together, right? And you got to decide how much you can give away and how much you can't. How much you can mix that. And this is politics, okay? That's how you just think of politics. It's just, what's the level you put to it, right? And so what I'd say is, you cannot run an organization without politics. You just have to choose what type of politics you're doing and using and how much of it, right? What's the quantity? It's not a qualitative thing, okay? In this we talk about qualitative things, we call quantitative things. And qualitative means, usually it said you have politics or you don't. And like I said here, it's not a question of you don't have it. It's which type do you have and how much of it. And that's a quantitative thing. And I think it's really important to kind of think about that. And which type, right? And how much. So think about it from that point of view. It's just food for thought, right? This is not, these are things I've kind of been thinking about from experience. Reading about some, but kind of coming up with the stuff from a lot of experience and talking about it and maybe documenting it and maybe doing these video books that now become kind of references of what I think about it. But these are things that are kind of just more or less. I'm sure I could probably have some books on it. I have to do a lot more research to find specific books, but I'm open to knowing what people have heard about and seen too. So let me know if you've seen any of the things, and let me know. Just keep tagging, keep talking about this topic as you're going to, Cari, and keep watching the stuff and reading the stuff and seeing how it's evolving on your end, because you're doing a lot more in-depth stuff on it, right? So thanks so much, and hope this at least gives you a couple new thoughts on the topic, right? Take care.